were set around 2000-2010. The pharmaceutical sector, with the latest development of technology, has increased a lot, but yet no one has discovered the real way to eternal youth. Specifically, there are two main companies that are trying to get it first: Sahara Therapeutics and PuffCorp. These are mainly focused on finding eternal youth not through technology or modern medicines. They believe that the secret is kept in the past by ancient populations. The challenge between the two companies comes to an end when finally a researcher from Sahara Therapeutics, Matthew Cross, discovers an ancient artifact that seems to be able to deliver immortality and bring back people to life thanks to a sacrifice. At this point, a spy war between the two companies begins. Edward Puffton, founder of the PuffCorp, sends a spy to Sahara and learns about another new artifact discovered, probably linked to the first one. Matthew Cross and his team believe that the second one is able to emit a charge so strong to crash a plane. But the experiments on the artifact are too slow, and Matthew needs to find a cure for his daughter with cancer, Megan Cross. Soon, he decides to experiment with the first artifact on children. The side effects are monstrous, as children slowly turn into real mutants and abominations. Sahara Therapeutics will not reveal to the world the results of the experiments, but will promote the new discoveries and the first artifact as the only way to immortality. More magazines will talk about it, and it will quickly become one of the most important arguments of that period. In the meantime, Matthew Cross is living private troubles with his wife, who also asks for a restraining order. And when she threatens to keep her daughter and to ask for divorce, she mysteriously gets killed.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I am sorry.
Please help.
At this point, Matthew gets his daughter to the artifact site, but this will lead to a tragic end. One of the mutated children will escape and kill everyone on his way, including Megan. Matthew, one of the few survivors to the attack, decides to bring her daughter back to life thanks to the first artifact. But in order to do that, he needs a new sacrifice. After the other researchers reveal the tragic end of the experiments, Sahara Therapeutics decides to fire Matthew and shut down the entire project. Nevertheless, Matthew will not stop and decide to use the second artifact to crash a plane on the side. At this point, Matthew will cover himself in red paint and pretend to be a member of the tribe that inhabits the site. At the plane, Matthew finds the perfect sacrifice: a little boy called Timmy Blanc, son of Eric LeBlanc, a professional survivor and web star that had to keep his family alive after the tragic accident that took his wife's life. Unfortunately for Matthew, Eric is still alive and clearly sees him taking away his son. Once he wakes up, Eric will not stop till he gets his son back. Eventually, Eric will find out about the secret laboratory set below ground and the atrocities it hides. Keeping his promise to find his son, he will discover the first artifact. Into it, Eric will find his son. In another room, there is a dead red man. Once Megan came back to life, thanks to Timmy's sacrifice, she killed her father, the only man that made it possible for her. But now that Eric is there staring at the one that took his son's life, he cannot accept what happened. As Matthew revived Megan by killing Timmy, now Eric will revive Timmy by killing Megan, still hidden in the laboratory. She's not a simple girl anymore. Just like the other children, she shows a new mutation that transforms her into something that Eric cannot truly understand. After Eric kills Megan, he will find out that everything was useless. The first artifact needs a live sample, not a dead body to be activated. Eric killed Megan, but this was not enough. At this point, a hopeless Eric will find the second artifact, the one that crashed this plane. He has a chance to save his son, and do what Matthew did previously. Or maybe just shut it down and end it once and for all. After he and all the other survivors have been saved, Eric will publish a book about his personal experience and the abominations the Sahara Therapeutics is now accused to have created. 1 year later, during a live event, Eric is invited with his son, and here Timmy shows the side effects of the first artifact. Timmy will have mutations for his whole life, and will spend most of it looking for a cure. This will lead him to the second site, where not Sahara Therapeutics, but PuffCorp is plotting something. After the events of the Forest, Sahara Therapeutics has been constantly charged and accused of illegal experimentation and torture. This almost destroyed the company, that was forced to take distance from the project led by Matthew Cross. Nevertheless, Edward Pafton will continue his research for other ancient artifacts linked to those discovered by the rival company. Almost 30 years later, PuffCorp announces that a new artifact has been discovered. According to ancient texts, on a not well specified island is rich in sulfide, a mineral with anti-aging properties. The texts also talk about a cube made of this material that activates every 8 months. PuffCorp scientists discovered that the activation of the cube before its time will have incredible anti-aging effects on everyone. The new discoveries will force Sahara Therapeutics to start again that spyware that ended a while before. Specifically, Jianyu Zhang is sent to PuffCorp and works for them in order to spy and reveal what's going on back to Sahara Therapeutics. He will send several pieces of information about the new artifact and the incredible effects on the sulfide, but will soon raise doubts about his real purpose there. After the recent discoveries, PuffCorp decides to build an entire underground community for a select few known as Holospring. This will allow only a few to join the activation of the cube and its effects. In the meantime, new experiments on the cube or with the island natives reveal that its regular activation will transform everything and everyone around it into abominations, but those into the cube. Nevertheless, scientists still believe its prior activation will have incredible effects. Holospring is quickly crowded by a select few, including Edward, Barbara, and Virginia Pafton, founder family of PuffCorp. Even though nobody knows where the cube is set, Holospring is getting a lot of attention and celebrity. After the announcement of the new artifact, new theories and conspiracies will start spreading all over the world. Specifically, a group of cultists known as Sons of the Stars will start looking for the new artifact, convinced it is the only way to immortality. Cultists are mainly influenced by some theories on the existence of other universes and dimensions, especially those supported by Timmy Blanc. Remember this name? He was the son of the only survivor of the Forest events. 30 years after he was brought back to life, Timmy has been looking for his whole life for a cure and for explanations for what happened. He started to believe there was another dimension where all those mutations and abominations came from. For this reason, he wrote a book called Parallel Universes and Travel Between Them. He quickly became the best and most known theorist about the existence of other universes. All these theories just led the group of cultists to look for the new artifact, and they did find it. They arrived by yachts on the island, where the Holospring community was preparing for a special event. Edward Pafton organized a special event in the food and dining bunker, inviting one of the most known music groups, the Bad Pirates. At the event, there will be almost everybody but Virginia, who won't attend it. While most of the Holospring community is busy with the Bad Pirates event, cultists decided to approach the cube by blowing an entire bathroom in the luxury bunker. The breach links directly into a cave, better known as Hell Cave, not yet explored, full of demon-like mutants. Only thanks to crosses and crucifixes, cultists arrived at the end of the Hell Cave. Most of them will die, and just few of them reach the cube. The cultists activated the cube. It has monstrous consequences on everyone who attended the Bad Pirates event, as everyone is transformed into mutants. Nobody survives but mutants, some cultists and Jianyu Zhang. He apparently is the only survivor of the event, thanks to his silver jacket that saved him from the mutations. At this point, Jianyu is forced to call Sahara Therapeutics for help, and groups of soldiers are sent by boats and a chopper, promptly covered in vine to hide it. Jianyu is now the leader of a special group of soldiers that has to understand the secrets of the cube and how to use it. His only task is to wait for the cycle to begin and attend its regular activation. In the meantime, the only surviving cultists will start praying for their afterlife salvation and killing themselves so as not to transform into those abominations. Jianyu will quickly find out about the cultists and kill them by himself. 6 months have passed since the Bad Pirates event, and after so much time, without signals and communications, PuffCorp is forced to send a team on the island to understand why they're not receiving any more information from Edward Pafton. The entire team will be killed and burned down from Jianyu and his soldiers. 1 month later, 7 months after the Bad Pirates event, 2 new groups of soldiers are sent from PuffCorp on the island.
Blasting over some 500 feet below ground. 7 months ago. You're not gonna find anyone alive down there.
We don't know why, but Silverjacket decides to spare ours and Kelvin's life. Here start the advance of Sons of the Forest. The main character will soon find out about the bunkers and the Holospring underground community. In the Food and Dining bunker, where the Bad Pirates event took place, we will find Silverjacket himself and his soldier, taken down from the mutated Edward and Barbara Pafton. Jenny succeeds in escaping, and you're first to kill the founders of PuffCorp. Once the main character comes out, he will eventually find out that not only cultists and Gianni survived the Bad Pirates event, but also Virginia Pafton, who partially mutated. She didn't lose her humanity, but got another leg and arm. The island has a complex cave system below ground, and there you'll be finding many secrets about the discoveries of PuffCorp, such as the sulfite ores and an armor made of this material. Exploring the entire island and Holospring structures, the main character will arrive at the residential bunker, where he will find a man fighting against the giant mutant called Sluggy. This man is actually Timmy Blanc, who arrived on the island by plane with his father, Eric LeBlanc.
Get down, son!
We pass out before we can understand what happened. After we open the doors of the luxury bunker to Timmy, who seems to have our same enemy, we will escape the residential bunker, seeing a helicopter going towards the luxury bunker. We are finally reaching an end. Into the final bunker, we will find the blown-up bathroom where cultists open a bridge to get into the Hellcave. The passage is blocked by a giant gate made of sulfite that only with the golden armor can be opened. In the Hellcave, you will find Timmy fighting against the mother of the demons, the biggest demon in there. Timmy struggles to fight it, and his arm slowly starts to mutate, the side effect of the first artifact. Together, you will defeat the demon mother and finally reach the cube.
We're out of time. No.
The cube creates a brief connection between ours and another dimension, where all the mutants came from. You can see ghosts, or what you want to call it, of cultists, those who did not make it and were transformed from the cube. The golden armor seems to have a strange effect on the player, and Timmy notices it, as the dimension is calling it back. But before we can even understand what's going on, the cube closes, and a new countdown starts, ready for the next activation. Outside of the cube, Jianyu has been transformed into a giant mutant. The silver jacket did not protect him, as he was too close to the cube, but he will have his revenge. After we exit the Hell Cave, Jianyu comes back in an even worse mutation, destroying one of the two helicopters probably called by Eric Blanc, who escaped with Timmy after being shot by Silverjacket. Timmy tries to help and accept his full mutated armor, and tries to stop Jianyu before it's too late, but fails in the attempt. Now it's only on the player. The fight we've been teased about since the beginning finally comes to an end. Eric comes on the island, hugging his son, survived not only to the forest, but also to Sons of the Forest. At this point, you just have to decide if you want to stay on the island or finally leave it with your friends Calvin and Virginia. The story of the Forest Saga is quite big, and has some interesting points that are yet to be explained. Sons of the Forest has many plot twists, but also plot holes that are yet to be filled with the next updates. I hope you enjoyed this video, leave a like and consider subscribing, follow me on all the social media, especially on our Reddit community and Discord server, on Instagram and Facebook, and always remember to survive the forest.